if you're using this manufacturing process and given that it's not doable by hand, it's like you can also maybe assume that this thing was designed. Like at some point, somebody designed this. It's not like there's a craftsman eyeballing this and making it up as he goes along, as you might do on a pottery wheel or in some other like a stone carving thing where I'm gonna shape this according to the rock and what I see in it. This to me, it's like this had to have kind of been designed, and maybe that's also another explanation for the perfectness that we see in the lug handles relative to each other and the top of the vase.
We don't need to get into the nitty gritty details of the vase since we don't know if it's genuine, but let me just point out that if you look at the lug handles, the holes drilled through them are clearly not at the same angle on both sides. They are not perfect relative to each other, are they? Looks like both the tool and the verification system failed on that one. Those drill holes, they were eyeballed.
So, typical thing. Obviously, the thing there was the fact that I do agree that Ben has a habit of using the word precision, the word perfect way too many times, especially when you look at a lot of this stuff like faces and the pyramids and statues and stuff like that. A lot of that stuff is far from perfect. They're near perfect per se, like they're really good quality. I could agree that they're good quality, and once you see really good quality that goes a little bit beyond handcraft, because when something is handmade, you kind of can tell. So even from somebody who's a master, you can still tell that it was handmade. There's certain even a master will make a mistake because the point is no one's perfect. Since no one's perfect, something handmade would look a lot. There'll be some signs of imperfections, like this little face image here, right? So then you have to think, okay, if it was done with a machine, so it's more precision, right, more accurate, then things will be way too perfect to be man-made, right? But here's the thing: just because this is not perfect does not mean this was man-made. This can still be made with machine. It's just imperfect machine, right? Non-computer aided machinery. No one's saying anyone with a brain. Maybe there's liars out there saying, yeah, ancient humans definitely had AI technology and computers and this, that, and third, and precision, blah, 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 perfection, blah, all that nonsense. Like, okay, then those are the bullshitters. We're talking about, on average, most people, when they talk about like the good quality and how it doesn't look handmade, it looks like it was, done with tools, power tools, more specifically, lost ancient high technology, whatever you want to call it, right? you know, then it's different. Then it's like, yeah, this stuff can definitely be made with power tools. Clearly, the person who made this was using a, could make those holes, for example, with a, power drill, right? A power drill, and they didn't have, they didn't have it steady. They didn't, uh, mark it and do anything to make sure it was perfect, right? All they care about was getting holes through the lug handles, right? The little knobs, and that's it. It didn't have to be 100% perfect. It just had to be good enough. It just had to. It's more about function more than form, right? So it's less about making something pretty and making something useful. Because even the lug handles have the appearance of not being polished. They're still a little rough. So the lug handles were less important to make, uh, you know, to polish, right? To make it nice and good quality. So they care more about the quality of the outer surface of the vase and a little bit of the inside. Sometimes most of these vases inside is not that good quality. Sometimes the outside is very not so great quality, very rough quality, but the inside is very, very smooth. So it just goes to show that it was more about what they were going to use it for that determines if it needed to be really smooth on the inside or not. A lot of times it did not. So in other words, some vases were for decoration, so they had to look really nice on the outside, and some were more for function, so they had to be really nice on the inside as opposed to outside. Then there's a combination of both, right? Where it didn't need to be nice on the outside or the inside because it probably was going to be temporary, right? Disposable. Like you use it a couple times, do stuff with it, and then eventually it's like, okay, it's useless. Time to throw it away, right? And get another one. So that's the thing. Depending on the use of the vase determines what the level of quality it's going to have, regardless if the quality is handmade or the quality is done by machine. This does not prove that this was not done by a machine. This just proves clearly there was a human being involved. It wasn't AI, it wasn't computer, this wasn't 3D printed, right? It wasn't, these stone vases weren't CNC'd, right? With computer, controlled stone cutting tools and stuff like that. No, somebody did this by hand. I mean, a human was involved. They could use, yes, a water wheel, like I talk about, a lathe, uh, power tools, using air, water, whatever, and the list goes on, right? They could have done it slow and meticulous, right? They could have done it the slow way and took a long, long time to drill those holes. Or they could be smarter, right, and not work harder and create power tools, create tools that at least they can pedal with their feet, right, and use feet power to pedal and spin the lathe, or to spin the drill bit that they used to make the holes. And yeah, it wasn't perfect because they didn't hold it perfectly. They probably wasn't using clamps or anything like that, which would have been more steady, more perfect. They definitely didn't use rulers and stuff to make sure that they were even, and all that extra stuff. It just seems more like the person just cared more about just putting the holes in for function, and didn't matter if it was perfectly aligned or not. We do that in modern day times. I'm not surprised ancient humans did the same thing. I'm not surprised ancient humans did not make a big deal. From my point of view, the way I always seen it is like ancient humans did not care about things being perfect, things being precise all the time. Sometimes, yes, because of maybe, because of geometry. It's like, oh, gotta have a perfect circle. Can't have a lump-sided circle. The circle has to be perfect. Okay, there was a reason for it. They needed it to be perfect, so they made a perfect circle. But there's times where the circle is not going to be perfect because they didn't care. It wasn't that deep. Just like in modern day times, we can uh, we can care about the precision of something or not. And that's the funny thing is, a lot of the guys who talk about, like Chris Dunn, for example, when he talks about the precision stuff, he even mentions that even in the manufacturing world that he's in, a lot of times they don't make things 100% perfect. There is an allotment for margin of error, as they say, or imperfection. They allow a certain level of imperfection when it comes to making things. So even they don't, in modern day time, with all our advanced technology, even we still don't do things 100% perfect. A lot of times we'll just get away with 96% perfect. Just saying.